John, thank you again for your time on the phone this morning. I'm going to demonstrate the Tippmann Clicker press cutting your material. Now you can see a couple different samples that I cut prior to calling you, and I'm going to demonstrate the press actually cutting them here in a moment. The material cuts great using a clicker die. This is called a high die or a clicker die. It's 1 1/4 inch high steel rule die is what this is. Okay, also called a feed through die, again a high die. With this type of die, you take the material and you put it on top of this cutting board. This is a sacrificial material. You can use a lot of different types of plastic. We use high density polyethylene or polypropylene. Now when it wears out on one side, you flip it over, you use the other side. This board can be really cut up using the type of material that you're using. So I mean, this board is very scarred up and it cuts just fine. So it's not something that you're going to have to replace very often. And when you do have to replace it, this board is $40 from us. So wears out on one side, flip it over, use the other side. Again, this board goes on the bottom in this case because you're going to be cutting what's called die blade down. You have your cutting board on the bottom, you put your material down, put the die on top of the material, you slide it in, you cycle the press. I don't cycle it yet because I don't have that much material, so I'm going to show you that in just a second. Now, another thing you can do is you can actually cut die blade up with this press as well. Now, cutting die blade up, you use what's called a steel rule die that's mounted in wood, has ejection foam to push the material out when you cut. But typically cutting a thicker material like you're cutting, you would not use this type of die because there would be no way to get the material out. But if you ever did have an application where you're using that type of die, what you do is you mount your cutting board to the top with either clamps, or you could bolt it to the top with bolts and wing nuts. The presses actually have mounting holes in them now. This is an older press here, so it doesn't have the mounting holes in it, but all our presses now have mounting holes in all four corners so that you would simply put bolts and wing nuts on to put that cutting board on the top. So then in that case, you have your die on the bottom, you slide it in, you cut, and you pull it out. So you never have to stick your hand in the press, you simply just slide your die in and out. If you're cutting with the clicker die like you guys are going to be doing, again, you don't ever have to stick your hand in the press because you just simply slide the cutting board in and out, keeping it very, very safe. Now, the one thing we discussed on the phone that I talked about is an optional item. This press has what's called an air accumulator on it. Okay, most of our online videos have the air accumulator on it. This gives the press about an extra ton of cutting pressure, but the nice thing is too, it makes it twice as fast. On the upside, that press comes up twice as fast because you're flushing the machine with air instantly. See, all that air comes right from here, and once you drain it out, your air compressor instantly refills it. So it just makes the press twice as fast. It is an option. Certainly do not have to have it, but I will list it on your quote. Now I'm actually going to demonstrate the press cutting your material just to show you how easily this material cuts using an 1 1/4 inch high die. Okay. And also you wanted to see the edges. There's no, as you can see, there's no burrs or anything along the edges. It's a nice clean cut. Okay. Same thing with the, I used a square die as well. You can see how nice and clean those cut edges are there. So now I'll actually demonstrate the press working. We're going to slide the material in, cut, pull it out, and then we just take the material out of the machine, and there you go. So like I say, once you get your method down as far as operation goes, I mean, you could cycle a press about once every 7 seconds between loading, cutting, unloading, being ready to go again. Just like that, I cut through it, and there you go. There is your cut piece. So it's quick and easy. I'll go ahead, I'm going to send this video link over to you, and I will give you a call to discuss. Thank you.